What's your thing?
I didn't even get a placard. So we're back. We're back on.
We're back. Dennis, maybe you can just recognize that what just happened and where we are now on the agenda.
Well, we come out of closed decision deliberation for Martin Foods, and now we're gonna be reviewing the minutes.
We start the
that
meeting?
okay?
We start the meeting already?
We're supposed to start at 7.
Oh, I forgot. Shoot.
And I am going.
That was right on
Do we have
time.
we have enough for a quorum for the minutes?
We don't need a quorum for
Okay,
minutes.
oh, that's right. Okay. And I'm going to recuse myself for the rest of the meeting, specifically conflict with the Nelis project.
Okay,
Okay.
thank
Good
you.
luck. Thank you.
Good night, Sarah.
Is that all right,
I'm an
Alex?
adjacent landowner.
Well, you're leaving anyway, so it doesn't matter whether you're recused. You're not here.
Do you need any more from me, or is that all right?
Nope, that sounds good. Onward, minutes.
So do we wanna let people in?
Oh, yes, sorry. My bad.
Can the board members review the minutes of September 4th?
First on Hannaford's? Did we deliberate at 7 on Hannaford's?
Yeah, we talked about it at the last meeting, and there was an email that went out last week.
I'm totally, I remember that now.
That's all right.
Oh, we shouldn't have banished Rolf anyway.
Well, Rolf was not participating in the Hannaford.
Are we?
We'll resume after,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, the idea is that you can continue your Hannaford deliberations at the end of this meeting. A little bit before, a little bit at the end.
Okay. So I haven't missed out.
Nope. I will relate to you what was discussed at the beginning session, at the end. Hi, Rolf.
Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes?
I didn't, but they were very extensive.
Oh my God, 12 pages. That's why I'm late today.
Sorry.
On page 9, Mitchell Cease asked if they. Just an extra they.
Is that your Audubon book? Are you,
My who?
your Audubon book, or are you sketching things that will be
No,
sold in 100 years as collector's items?
I've got about 50 of these now. But
And on page
Thoreau,
11,
huh?
on page 11, discussion ensued about, just add Nate about. But other than that, I thought they were great.
Another outstanding recording secretary.
Yeah, man.
she's good.
Yeah.
Double duty, too.
I move to approve if there's no other comments.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. Abstain.
All right, up next is Andrew Stolberg, minor subdivision revision for a 3.05 acre property located at Turkey Lane.
Somebody else, I don't wonder. Are you up? No, okay.
Where he is?
Didn't see your,
No, I guess I need to recuse myself for this.
do have a sign-up sheet.
Somebody just walked in.
If you want to just put your name down there and pass it on, that'd be great.
So I don't think we can move the meetings to 7 o'clock, because I would never be here. Because it's been 7:30 for so long.
We did talk about it.
I remember now. Now, I remember.
You can give me your cell number, I can call you.
Okay. How does that work?
Yeah.
So Dennis, how would you like to proceed with
Another
the?
person just walked in. I just saw a hand.
Okay. Walk past the window there.
Entered the door. So where he or she is going.
Maybe
I
I'll
cannot
open
say.
up that school door so it's more like.
There's people talking.
Hey.
You're up.
Oh, yeah. Good. Oh, wow, I'm sorry. Was there a sign-in sheet?
Yeah.
There is,
Just-
it's going around, actually.
Is this our first?
How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
So you want to just do a brief description? It's pretty simple what you're looking to do, right?
Correct, yeah. We were here about a year ago to,
This is Rolf and Stevie's property, right?
correct, yeah. Well, it's now my property, but it was Rolf and Stevie's
Right.
property. And we had it subdivided, and we built a house on it. And one of the conditions that we put into orders were to produce, or to install landscaping along the east side of the property, because the neighboring property was owned by the Haberman and Edelman, by them. They were not pleased that we were building next to them, and they had brought up a bunch of issues. One of those things was that we were going to be disrupting their privacy, so as a peace offering, we offered to install landscaping in between the two properties. And then shortly after the decision was made by the DRB, they decided to move.
Yeah.
And
So basically, screening that was ordered by us as consideration to a neighboring property owner basically is superfluous, because now there's a family relationship among the property owners,
Correct.
and nobody wants the screening.
couldn't have said it better.
And the screening, just so everybody can see it, is shown on this plan from the original review. So this is the new house that was built. This was the property with the previous owner that had some issues, and this was the landscaping proposed. They were cedar arborvitae plantings. So the request is just to eliminate these.
And it's still wooded on the other side.
Oh,
anyways,
yeah,
right?
you can see from the plan, there's some indication of tree line, and this new house site is way off the road and is backdropped by woods.
You can't see either house from either property. And my mom owns the neighboring property
Okay.
now, and we would both like to actually create a path, so the exact opposite of putting in landscaping.
Okay.
So the picture I think is perhaps a little deceiving. It's showing the trees. It looks like it's completely forested, but obviously there's a lane there. So there can't be a very thick tree buffer.
There's a lane right here
Right, but the neighbor's lane.
that goes like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, along that edge where they're taking out the arbor, whatever the trees are, it's not like there's a thickly wooded area between those spots.
Exactly.
Right, and that was the reason for the plantings in the first place. But again, that was done to acknowledge the concerns of a neighbor, not necessarily acknowledge the any community issues
Well,
with
I'll play
regard.
devil's advocate, but a lot of times when we do these things, it's for future, what's going to be done on the property in the future owners.
That can always be bargained for as part of any exchange of property.
No, my point, Dick,
Really?
was that we don't have a regulation that compels an applicant or the board to require screening between properties. Our sort of regulations deal with visual impacts from the public sphere. And so in this case, I don't think it was a regulatory provision that compelled that landscaping. It was, as Andy described, a sort of a peace offering to help, make a neighbor a little more comfortable.
I don't think we would have required it unless there was compelling information that there was an impact. So I don't think we would have admitted that requirement.
I can bring an aerial photo up, actually, if that helps at all, because it is, you're right, this is a sketch, and then we actually do know what the land looks like.
We're not specifically talking about right now, but where did the lane end up going in? Was it, because my recollection was the last thing we were gonna jumper it over from the neighboring lane instead of going all the way out to the main road?
Oh, sorry, you wanted to see the plan again and know where the lane actually went?
Yeah.
Sorry?
I thought it was requested to connect it into the neighboring drive.
Right, so the original approval was to come with a new
Right.
road cut here, all the way in, along owned property.
Yep.
And then when the applicant's family, mother, purchased this neighboring property, that proposal was revised. It came back to the board and got approval to share the existing driveway on the neighboring property and then split off of it here,
Okay, and that's what was built.
as far as I
Okay.
know.
Yep, correct. That is
Okay.
what is there currently.
Okay.
I have no further questions.
Board members have any other questions? Anybody here from the public on this application? We have a draft decision.
I would move to approve as written.
I'll second it. Any more discussion? All
Yep.
those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, up next is Samuel Nelis, sketch plan review for a 2-lot subdivision on a 1.2 acre property located at 360, oh, I better get my glasses on. 366 Mechanicsville Road. All right, can you just, do we have a mic or?
No, we have mics that capture, you just want to sit up in the front row, it should work just fine. Here, I can get rid of that sign-in sheet so it's not in your way.
So these are actually microphones now?
Oh, right there.
I thought it was a bird.
I'm Sam at 366 Mechanicsville, and I want to subdivide my property. I think we got a sketch on the trajectory.
You'll put that up.
Yeah, I can put that up for you.
Never really done one of these before, so.
Basically, they're just looking to have you explain what your property is today and what you want it to be.
So this is
Subdivision
Village District, Alex?
This is the residential 1 district, which is part of the village growth area, but is zoned strictly for residential, not mixed use.
And the minimum lot size, is it .2?
It's 6,000 square feet. So it's
0.17.
0.14 acres, something like that. So Sam's existing lot,
1.2.
yeah, 1.2. As you can see on the plan, this is his lot here on the corner of Mulberry and Mechanicsville. The way our development potential calculation works in the village, you take the full area of the lot and you subtract out these areas within the stream setbacks, stream buffers, and you take the remaining area and that's what you have to work with for density. So I think Mitch described in his staff report that it's about 1.13 acres or something like that when you subtract the stream setback. And in this district, the residential 1, the base density that you're allowed by right is 2 units per acre. So this lot appears to have adequate acreage to be subdivided to create a second building lot. And we have density bonuses that are available should someone want to go above and beyond to increase that density, and that was talked about in the staff report as well. But in this case, Sam's proposing to divide the lot here and create a new, have a building site on the new lot there.
Did you have an idea where your curb cut was gonna be, or you're still deciding that?
Still deciding.
Okay.
It's just, Mitch was saying this is kind of like the preliminary sketch.
Okay.
It's not surveyed or anything yet, but.
Is Mulberry Lane a private right-of-way, or is it a town road?
It is a town road. It was private, and then the town took it over several years ago.
Right,
Because-
Mulberry Lane still, we still take care of all of the land along Mulberry
Just
Lane.
mention your name, please.
Adam Peterson.
Okay.
Yeah, so we still take care, we do all the mowing of all along up Mulberry Lane.
But the town plows it though.
They do, but yes,
Okay.
but they don't maintain it otherwise.
But is it owned by the town, Alex? Or?
The road is,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So if there's a pothole in the road, the town fixes the pothole. If there's plowing to be done, the town plows it. But I think what Adam is saying is that the edge of the road in terms of mowing and vegetation maintenance has been, continued to be done by the homeowners association.
So
I'm just
Mike
gonna have-
Anthony would have to approve any road cut.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we told Sam, that as a part of this whole process, he's got to make an application for a new driveway cut and have the road foreman review it.
I'm just gonna have the board member ask questions and then I'll open it up to the public, okay?
So if staff could refresh my memory, what are the front yard setbacks and so it's like a 10-foot, I mean, the triangular parcel seems problematic. Is it like a 60-foot front yard setback or something? And-
So it's, in this district, the setbacks are very small. It's 10 feet on all sides
sides,
from, and on the front yard, it's 10 feet from the edge of the right of way.
So the setbacks would set the building envelope.
That's what Mitch was thinking, is that because the way he and Sam talked about this, lot 2, the new building lot, is triangular, therefore, the portion here on the southeast side is not really usable, that when you calculate the setbacks, that's gonna give you a building envelope that's pretty constrained already without having to define a more constrained building envelope, the way you might on a larger lot.
Do you have a rough idea what size the building could be, or?
If there's, originally he was saying I could actually cut that into 2 and then they'd have to do it 1,500 square feet max, but now since there's just 1, there's no limit.
Because I look at, I guess that's your current house.
Yeah.
And garage, and if you took those two things and you tried to plop them into that triangle, it doesn't, just eyeballing it looks like it doesn't really fit or would be
It could
awful
be a
tight.
very tight
Look at
squeeze,
the box
yeah.
underneath, I mean, it's about the same size as that far one on the right, bottom, right?
What are the dimensions of that triangle?
Mitch did it all for me, I kind of trusted him, to be honest, I don't.
Yeah, I think that the scale is here. I believe Mitch measured this out and said it had the required 100 feet of depth,
Yeah, 160, I think, were like the,
and then the frontage is longer than that. But here's the scale down below, so if you can approximate, it looks to be about 100 feet deep or slightly more. And then, I don't know, like we were saying, 160
it was like,
long, or
it had to have 60 in the front and 100 backward.
But remember, you've got a 10-foot setback around all of these sides. So the actual buildable area of the lot's gonna be, in this center portion, sort of where the label is, lot 2.
And I don't know, I'm sorry for belaboring it, but it just seems like unless you're building a triangular building,
Well, you have
I mean-
can I go up there?
sure.
If you want, here, take the,
I'm actually colorblind, so I'm
okay, you can't see the laser pointer.
You have to think about it as if this was the lot. So forget about this.
Yeah,
You can still definitely totally fit a house there, and this is kind of just bonus. Just like my house now is not triangular on this big triangle. So you put a
Yeah.
line straight here, that's actually still plenty of room legally in Hinesburg, and that's just kind of bonus.
Yeah, I think the
Okay.
comparison that Mitch made in the staff report and that Sam's pointing out is the lots on the other side of Mulberry look about like this, and they're certainly deeper than this lot would be, but they have a similar width in terms of if you hack off this portion of the triangle, you end up with a lot that's about the same width of these adjacent lots, just not as deep. But I don't
Okay.
disagree with you, Dick. I think Sam's gonna wanna, if he moves forward with this, he's gonna wanna decide, give some thought to where that line really should be in order to make this a saleable lot, a developable lot. Maybe that line wants to be a little bit over here, but again, like you
Okay.
said, once it goes to survey, you have a much better idea of what the actual measurements are and what the setbacks provide for.
So the density bonuses allow for a duplex if some things are done? Is that on lot 2 or lot 1, or how?
It could be on either lot, but it would be up to Sam to make that decision and then.
Make the case.
And then make a case for it. And at this point, you're not sure, right? So you're kind of thinking just a single-family home lot, but then maybe something more. The problem, just so you understand, Sam, is that you'd have to figure that out as a part of this review. Because once the lot's subdivided, neither of them will be large enough to qualify for that bonus. So it'd have to be as part of this subdivision that you would identify how you were going to achieve the bonus and then which of the two lots would get it. So the bonus accrues if you do certain things, like building a green certified home.
Okay.
Or having a home that is below a certain livable floor area. Smaller homes get bonuses. And it's an a la carte system. You can pick and choose several of those in order to accumulate the necessary bonus. So you would need to figure that out as a part of this review before this got a final approval and say, this is how I'm going to meet the bonus requirements and this is where I want to put
First, I'm
that.
hearing about the bonus. I don't know what
Oh.
bonus is in, like cash. Like what is that? What?
No.
Sorry.
For what?
Let me be more clear. So
Not gonna happen.
So, I thought Mitch had explained this.
Sorry.
So right now you have basically an acre's worth of usable land.
Okay.
And the density allowance for this district says you can have 2 houses on an acre.
Okay.
You already have one,
Right.
so you can get one more.
Right.
But then the regs go on to say, hey, if you want to go above that one more, you can do these public good things and maybe get a 3rd house on this lot, or maybe change one of these houses from a single-family home into a duplex.
Okay.
But you have to do those public good elements to get that density bonus.
So that, because right now it says single family home or duplex, that's the whole concern. To do the duplex, we would need the.
Yeah, exactly. In the staff report, when Mitch writes, it could be a single-family home or duplex. If you want it to be able to have a duplex, which is really 2 units in the
Right.
same structure, you'd have to demonstrate how you're going to achieve
Okay.
that.
But
Those
if I want to
bonus.
just do a single family home, I don't need to worry about.
Don't need to worry about that. It's just a straight conventional subdivision at the base allowed density.
Then I'd probably just get rid of the duplex thing and not worry about it, to be honest. I just wanted to keep it open, because we're not sure. We want to subdivide it, we might sit on it for 5 years, I don't know. I just.
Right.
We might decide to build ourselves, we might decide to sell it.
Well, in
People
theory,
across the
no matter
street wanna buy
what, no matter what decision you made now, 5 years from now, you could come back and ask for a revision to the subdivision if your plans changed.
If you still own the both lots.
Yeah.
Anything was done to it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I would just say, let's keep it to single family for now.
That keeps it simple.
Would that be unless the town decides to change their regulations?
No, I think not, once it's subdivided, you can modify the subdivision, but if they waited to subdivide it and the town decided that lot's too small to subdivide now, then you wouldn't be able to subdivide it.
So this is within the Village Growth District? Is that correct?
Yes, so it's in the residential 1 district, which is part of the Village Growth District. It's within the water and sewer service area.
These 4 homes on the Mulberry Lane, the other side of the road, they're all part of the Mulberry Lane development? I understand?
Yes, there was a
Yeah.
subdivision in, I think, 2001 or
Okay.
2002 that.
What about the lot to the right there, the somewhat equally awkward shaped
This
lot
one?
right there? Was that part of
That's
that?
also part of it, yeah.
Not
The-
part of Thistle Hill?
No, the Mulberry Lane subdivision from 2001 or 2, I believe was a 6-lot or 6-unit subdivision. And then Thistle Hill came quite a bit later. And I think, yeah, so this is part of the original subdivision, just like these lots are.
And what about the lot there on the corner and the lot across the street from that?
Yeah, here, take it's
Yeah.
that button towards with the red line on it, yep.
I'm talking about this parcel right here and this parcel right there.
That's common land.
Yeah, those are,
Both common land owned by
Mulberry Lane.
Mulberry Lane?
part of that original subdivision.
And after that, it's Thistle Hill.
Correct.
And is most of Thistle Hill single-family homes? There are some duplexes in there, right?
There are just a couple. Thistle Hill, maybe if I had that map that you're looking at, Ralph, I could put it up on screen. Let me see if it's in the packet here. Location map, right?
We had that 40-unit building that was never built, that was changed.
Yeah, that was changed. So this is where we're talking about. That's the subject property. Here's Mulberry Lane. This was the original subdivision here, and then this is Thistle Hill. And Thistle is principally single-family homes, but there are there's a duplex here, here, and here. I think there are just 3 duplexes for a total of 6 dwelling units. This is the area where that senior housing was supposed to go. 32 units actually, 4 8-unit buildings, and didn't fly, so it got turned into more single-family homes.
And off Hawk Lane, if I could borrow
Yep.
that back again, I'm presuming this is an existing residence right there, accessible
Yes.
from that direction?
Yep.
Right behind this triangle?
Yes, it's actually
And
owned by.
these are all single-family residences here?
Yes, the first one you pointed to is a little different. It's a group home for
Yes.
adolescents. The Baird Center owns it.
Okay.
So it is a residential property, but it's a little different in its use from the rest of the properties on Hawk Lane.
What's all this white stuff? Is this snow?
No, these photos would have been taken leaf off without snow, and I don't know.
Bring it on.
I think you'll notice that.
She says that now.
You'll notice that there's a fair amount of that in through here as well. My guess is that that's just dead vegetation,
Okay.
before leaf out during the spring.
Okay.
Board members have any other questions before I open it up to the public?
I guess just one more. On the previous picture, down the, what is it, north eastern side, yeah. It looks like there's a blue line that runs down the lot line. Is that a stream or a?
Where do you mean?
That's a stream.
Right here?
Yeah.
No, there's no mapped stream in that location.
But there is actually a stream.
Yeah, I've walked that location several times.
There's no stream right where the triangle line is. The stream cuts, it's where the
So
Squares.
all I can tell you is this is the mapped stream with the
Yeah.
associated stream buffer. If there's any kind of drainage happening along this property line, it's not a mapped stream in our system, not one that we regulate.
And it's not part of the Mulberry Lane stormwater or anything like that?
I don't know, actually. When you open up to the public, maybe the folks from Mulberry Lane might have a
Okay.
better sense of where their
It's all
stormwater.
above.
But I think
Mulberry Lane.
the stormwater runs along the street.
Okay.
So, these lots, this one, perhaps this one, these 5, are they all part of the Mulberry Lane, or is this accepted?
Those are all part of Mulberry Lane.
My
All
understanding is that it was a 6-unit subdivision, and you're looking at 5 units, and then the 6th one is is towards the end of the road.
This
Right?
one?
Yeah.
And this was built at a different time, or it doesn't really matter, but,
Yeah, that's a
60s.
much older property.
Okay.
It was there before the Mulberry subdivision.
and this proposed to be about 0.38 acres, as I understand it, pretty close to the size of these, is that correct?
Yeah, just triangular instead of rectangular.
Okay.
Mulberry Lane was a PRD, was it not?
It was. Yes, that's why there's some of that
Yeah.
common space that was identified.
Okay.
I think at the time, the minimum lot sizes wouldn't have allowed for this as a conventional subdivision, so that the.
Didn't this also straddle 2 zoning districts at the time?
Geez, I don't remember, Greg. I know we changed all the zoning in 2009, and this was,
Yeah, I think
in
it did.
2001 or 2, I've forgotten now, just where the zoning district line was.
All right, I'll open it up to the public. Just state your name. We don't have a mic. Or is there mics
Yeah, it
back
should
there?
capture from there, and if anybody wants the laser pointer, I'm happy to.
There's
loan
secret
it out.
cameras. Yeah.
Who's first? Jeff?
You raised your hands first. I can go. So, I'm Jeff French. I live in, I don't have the pointer, but it's that last house on the,
You'll undoubtedly want to use it. It's the red button.
yeah, I know, this thing's always confusing. I live right here. So I don't need to go into a huge background. I think I sent something to Mitch. I don't know if it came to you folks or not with the different,
Hopefully you all got it in your packet.
right,
Jeff's,
about kind of the
correspondence.
long-term history of how our little neighborhood grew. So a couple things that are interesting to us. So one, there is a waterway here. Whether that's part of our runoff or not, I think we have a pond in our common land. So I think that whatever it is goes down this way, whether it comes down through here, I don't know. But there's definitely I know it's not mapped, but there is a waterway right through here. So that's one. The other thing that we're mainly concerned about is traffic on here. So when this was first built, this was a cul-de-sac. And the folks that moved in there before me, some of them are sitting here, that was one of the reasons they bought in, and there was to be no development up here. But, you know, things transpire, and Thistle Hill grew up around us, another new house went in back here. And so over the years, this road then got connected, and so now we have traffic, and every single one of these houses have kids under 13, multiple. So we have a lot of issues with cars, as it is today, to the point we try to put out those little green guys saying slow down. There's times we step out in the road and tell people to slow down. So that's a bit of a concern is, one, if you're adding a new traffic and cut here, that's more traffic, and then you're talking duplexes, that's more traffic. So that's just a safety concern we have. The other thing is we talked a little bit about the strip along Mulberry Lane, and I had raised it to Alex and to Mitch, and we talked about it, and both times was go back and look at the deeds, so we did. This was obviously put together in '02, and we were requested to maintain all of this, which we've done for the last 16, 17 years. The town only acquired this in May.
Wait.
Legally, your deed did
May
not
of
take
this
this
year?
over until May of this year.
Wow. But we were plowing it for what, the last 5 or 4?
Yeah. So we thought we owned this land, right? Because we've been maintaining it, we've been putting up mailboxes, we do everything on this. The previous owners never came by and talked about it. They never got involved with it. The town never asked us about taking it over. They just started plowing. So when you go back in the history, it looks like there was a request for the town to take this over. But our concern is it's been so long, and now all of a sudden an application comes up, the town decides to legally take it over 3 months ago.
The town decided that, Jeff?
Yeah.
Without
I've got the deed right here. As of May 23rd, 2018, the town finally took over that road legally. So,
But it was at the town's request, not at the Mulberry Lane.
not at our request. It was between the town and the guy who built the construction back in '02.
Okay.
So it kind of falls foul to adverse property laws in Vermont, but I'm not going to go there. But that's our thing. When we started asking about curb cuts and those type of things, we're like, well, can you put a curb cut through somebody's property? And we asked the town and just kind of got a shrug, go look in the deeds, and lo and behold, it wasn't bought until May of 15 this year. So that's a little concerning that 17 years later, the town decides to buy land.
No. The town didn't
Or
buy-
transfer land from
Okay.
the previous owner. So the original owner was Barone Construction.
Yeah.
He sold all this property to, what's his name?
Bart Frisbee.
Bart Frisbee, who built Thistle Hill, and it sat. And then May of this year, the town got a deed with Barone and Bart to officially take that road over.
Well, they didn't, I'm sure they asked to have that happen. The town didn't request to take over roads. If anything, the town resists taking over roads, my experience.
Well, the DRB said that the town should take it over once all this construction was done in Mulberry Lane, which completed back in '03.
I doubt if we said anything about that.
So anyway, that's where our concern is. It's like, we've been taking care of this thing for 17 years.
Did you have a road association?
We used to plow it and take care
No,
of
but
it
did you have a road association drawn
with
up?
our,
I think
With our
so. I think the
Mulberry
original
Lane.
subdivision
the original
had,
subdivision.
I think there was a
we're called the
homeowners
Mulberry Homeowners
association.
Association. We owned that as a private lane and took care of it. And then once Thistle Hill started, the town just started plowing. So we didn't complain.
Yeah, my recollection is that the developer retained rights to that road so that the homeowner association had access to it, took over responsibility for it, but the developer always had the right to use it to connect to the next phase of development, and probably retained the ability to transfer it to the town, as you discovered just happened in May, even though it had been talked about for a long time.
So Mulberry Lane's basically two. There's a Mulberry Lane that was original, and then there's this, which is called Upper Mulberry Lane, which was put in by Thistle Hill. And then it seems like all of this was just transferred over to the town just 3 months ago. So again, our big concern is really just safety. And you're putting a road cut on a road that's already, we feel anyway, has got a lot of traffic going through it, that was originally built for 5 houses. So that's where I'll let these guys speak for them, but that's kind of my look at it was, we thought this was ours, we've been taking care of it, and then all of a sudden it's not, so.
Does Mulberry Lane go through?
Yes.
Yeah, it now connects to Thistle Hill and goes around.
I thought when we originally approved this, the proposal was only to have access through, what's the main Thornbush for Thistle Hill. And then I remember I said there should be a alternative way out that wasn't going to be improved, just in case something happened and Thornbush was blocked. But now, do I understand Mulberry is a prepared road?
Absolutely, yep, it's a regular road, just,
So that changed, I think, from the original approval.
well,
And I'm not aware of that.
it was fleshed out, as Jeff mentioned, during the Thistle Hill development review.
And it's paved to the point where it looks like it's not paved.
But I thought it was.
No, it's paved all-
I thought it
all roads
was
paved.
I thought it was
It's all
just
paved.
going to be, like, they were gonna have a gate there, but it was not gonna be paved through.
No, that was never the plan.
No, never the plan. Right.
That-
The plan was to not have dead ends if possible.
Yeah.
And
No, I
that's
remember
what, that's what's been achieved. It was always the developer's intention to have that through, my understanding. And he retained rights to do that.
All right, do we have anybody else?
Yeah, I'll just add one thing. My name's Matt Hay. I live 2 houses down from Jeff. The only other thing that I'll add is and maybe you could flip to the other slide,
Yes.
it shows it a little bit better. So at the beginning of where his lot 1 is, there's a bunch of, are they cedar trees?
Oh, yeah.
That
the street
provide
trees.
like a buffer. So I think if something were to go through for lot 2, we'd probably request, a similar amount of screening. Literally, my front window looks out into your backyard. It's a very beautiful backyard currently. I have great concerns about my own view, the investment that I made, almost 10 years ago into the house, and yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have just one more thing to add. My name's Adam Peterson. I live in between these two guys. One of the other concerns I have is we already have it's already very noisy, and we have a group home right across from us, and the thought of adding a duplex or even another house, I'm just really not fond of the idea. I feel from our original investment when we bought the house, none of this was supposed to happen. And it's been a really tough pill to swallow. So, obviously I don't want any building there, but if there is and it's approved, I would definitely request this similar type of screening all the way up.
Is that level, are those 1 foot contours we're looking at on here?
2 foot contours.
2 foot?
Yep.
relatively level though.
Yeah.
I drove down there.
Yep.
I mean,
So clearly if you've walked it or driven it, you'll know that the houses that Adam and Jeff and Matt live in are higher than the other side of Mulberry Lane where Sam's property is.
You're 10 feet or so, 10, 12 feet?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that looks about right to me from the contour lines.
yep. And there is drainage down the back lot line, and some vegetation back there? Is that
Looks
what
like a
I'm
hedgerow or
seeing?
something.
Kind of hedgerow there, along there?
Where?
Along the back of the triangle.
I've walked that line before,
Yep.
and there's like a big, it almost looks like a swamp overflow, like a natural part of, drainage. Right next to the opposite side of where that group home is, all throughout that area. And the river gets bigger as it connects into, is that Patrick Brook? or
Behind the group home, not between
No,
the
it-
property and group home.
It's on the left side of there,
Yeah, it's like right in.
it's right there.
Just a little bit on the corner, I think, but then it goes.
It's hard to tell on this map.
Yeah.
I think it's worth
There's like a,
exploring.
you have the,
I don't have the pointer, it's behind you.
which one? The top one?
The red slash, yep.
I can't see this thing. Right here, there's like a, I don't know, like a 2-foot pipe, water or something. I think it shoots out more this way. So here it's probably a little bit swampy, maybe, and then it kind of all goes back down here, and the river meets right here. But there's actually an old fence back here, like a barbed wire fence. Just I don't know what that changes.
There's
that
a
changes
tree
anything.
lawn there as well,
There's
right?
trees, yeah. There's a bunch of trees. Here.
Yeah, I can bring the Google image map up. Mitch has made this map with some of the natural features on top of it, which obscures what's actually there. So give me just a moment. We'll make technology work for us.
But I don't know if that would let that change anyway. But
Well, just for the sake of visualizing the property. Oops, we don't need to go to Frost Beer Works.
We could, though.
we
They still are
Sound-
there? I should also say, I had no idea that this would be like a issue, to be honest. Mitch was like, yeah, you can do it, no problem, whatever. Like, we don't even know what to do with the property yet. I threw the duplex in there just kind of as is. As far as like the safety concern, like I got a 2.5-year-old too, like I obviously care about safety too. I'm not trying to make this like a crazy traffic street. I don't think 1 car or 2 cars would make a big difference, to be honest. The hedgerow, the blocking it makes a lot of sense. I'd probably want them to block this way too, because it's my backyard.
Who does?
He does.
He lives, oh,
Just Greg Matthews, just under the Walkers, that Keith Ballard built that house, I think, right there, where you live, right? Yeah,
yeah, okay.
because I split wood in that yard.
What's the
So I know where it
occupancy
is
of
now.
the group home? Anybody know?
That's the Baird Center that owns this home here, and I don't know the number of kids that live there.
They used to be on the Hinesburg Richmond Road, didn't they?
Any idea how many?
Couldn't tell you, but I know it's here, it's been here for a while,
I think it's
but I don't know how many kids, and I'm
3 or
not,
4 total, 4 or 5 maybe.
I'm not sure that's a fixed number
I think it
either,
changes.
probably
As
varies
the need
over time.
changes, yeah.
But anyway, so this photo can at least give you a sense of what exists today. There's that hedgerow that was being discussed. Here is just regular street trees.
So the property would be in between the hedgerow and that first maple.
And there's that back property line that was being discussed as well that's largely vegetated.
And I was under the assumption that it was in the contingency, since this house was here before, when Mulberry went in, the contingency was that they need to maintain that edge of the property. I don't necessarily think that means they own that part of the property, right? There's
Well-
a difference there.
When it was a private lane, we did.
You own that.
And then there was a request that part of the original plat was that the road would go to the town. That was 16 years ago, and that never happened until May of this year.
Right.
So none of us realized that. We just thought we had owned it. We didn't realize that it was supposed to go to the town or that it hadn't yet until,
We never approved anything that required or expected anything to go to the town. At
this
most,
one
there
did.
would have been a road association, and what went from there, everybody was agnostic about. We have never required an expectation or a condition that the town take over any road.
if you go back in your notes for the DRB, I forget, it's in 2002. There's a line in there that says, at completion of this, that road is to be transferred to the town.
I disbelieve that, and I have those notes in my file cabinet.
Okay.
It's not
Take a look.
there. I'm telling you.
There definitely was, regardless of that fact, there's definitely was the intention by both the original developer, Russ Baroni, and the guy he sold the rest of the land to, Bart Frisbee, that these become town roads. They didn't want to maintain them. They wanted the town to take them over. And my memory of it was that the town said, we're not taking anything over until it connects through and until it goes through a proving period, you know, so that if the road is constructed and 2 years later buckles, that has to be fixed so the town doesn't have to take on that responsibility. But as to the timing between all those desires by the developer and the town's, you know, formal hearings and taking over the road, it's news to me that it just happened in May. I thought it had happened, you know, a couple of years back.
I mean, I definitely didn't want to upset my neighbors, honestly. But I'm not quite sure what to say. Because in 2002, this was all open land too, and that people who own my home, I'm sure, were not very excited to have 8 new homes kind of coming across the street from them, right?
Yeah, and that was, who we lived in there? Carl. And that's why the screening went up.
Right. I would like the screening to go all the way down the, I don't know why they did screening and then just 5 maples, but if you wanted screening, you'd want to take out those maples and then put other screening, because the maples are going to get bigger and bigger and then provide more and more screening, right?
There's actually been an arborist through our neighborhood and they planted all the trees wrong. They're gonna die within 5 years.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't know, 5 years, but yeah.
Someone came and checked it out?
Yeah, they're all knotted, they're suffocating.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we
So-
have enough to move the staff.
Can I just give one? The Hinesburg minutes were of August 20th, 2002. That say that
Okay,
it's going
I've got
to
them in my file cabinet.
Just so you're aware.
Are you talking about an order from the board, or are you talking about minutes
This is
from?
minutes from the Hinesburg Development Review Board of August 20th, 2002, approved 9/3/02. And
Have you looked at the approval?
get the, I guess, subdivision scans somewhere. Sorry,
I haven't thrown out my paper yet.
Well, regardless of that, it's a town road right now.
Yeah.
And unless that changes, the access to a town road is by application to the select board road foreman. Or to us with their approval, I guess the way it works.
So do you want me to read the line that I think it is? I may be wrong, guys.
No, I can look it up.
It's bullet 19 of the decision.
Board members have enough to direct staff or?
Well, it appears that this meets our dimensional and zoning requirements, and it's not totally out of place with the size of adjacent lots, maybe a little different shape. So.
Do you think we should continue the sketch to see a little bit more, or are you fine with what you have?
Well, I think there's some details that have to be covered in when the actual work gets done on the subdivision. But I think I'm okay
I would
direct
move
stuff.
that we actually take it up in deliberative session, since we're going to have a deliberative session in any event tonight. Why don't we just combine those?
Sure.
Do I have a second?
So what, yeah, close the public
Close
hearing?
the public hearing and take it up in deliberative session.
Executive session.
Okay.
I'll second it. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
So what that means, just since you haven't been through this before, is they've taken all the evidence on your sketch plan application. They're gonna talk about it amongst themselves. They technically have 45 days to issue a written decision. It probably won't take that long. Usually we'd work on it at the next meeting, and then it comes, you know, sometime after that. And we'll distribute the decision to everybody who was here tonight who participated. And then we go from there.
Thank you.
You're up. I'm gonna recuse myself. The next application.
Not really. This was one I didn't get through.
No.
Okay. He's sweating a little bit back. I
I noticed.
So this is a subdivision?
This is, yeah, so get back to our agenda.
Two-lot final.
Yeah, so this is Michael Place, two-lot subdivision.
Hilton and Elaine Place.
Good, how you doing?
Final.
Oh, sorry, that might pass the
Yeah, there it is, final. I was looking at the wrong one. Final plat review
Yep.
for two-lot subdivision on Place Road. Place Road West.
Historic preservation.
So,
Dick, maybe you want to, just for the viewing audience who just heard a whole lot of conversation, maybe just sort of restate what application
All
we're
right.
on and take us into it?
okay, so this is an application for Michael Place, final plat review for a proposed two-lot subdivision on Place Road West. And so I guess it looks like lots of new documents for the final.
Sure.
Looks like you're ready to go, so if you want
Yeah,
to walk through.
absolutely.
If you want to introduce yourself and tell me what plan you would like to see, I will put it up on screen.
Absolutely. Jason Barnard and Jarvis. You can pull up the site plan and then we'll go to the survey plat after that.
Site plan, do you have a,
S1?
right there? S1?
Yep.
Okay.
There you go. The overall.
Happy to zoom in as you would like.
Sure. You can go in maybe a little bit more here. There you go. So as I think we were here before February timeframe for sketch, somewhere around in there. Representing Hilton and Elaine Place, two-lot subdivision of the former Place driving range off of Place Road West. Here's Place Road West and Route 116. You can see, as proposed, the existing, there's an existing driveway access or existing access into the parcel already. That's what we plan to improve to support a 3-bedroom single-family home and 5-bedroom single-family home. The property was used for commercial purposes with the driving range, so it does have an Act 250 permit associated with it. That Act 250 permit application has been submitted to the Act 250 board. We've sat down and met with the district coordinator. Shouldn't be any issues with regards to the permit, really very simple. A few things just to point out with regards to the Act 250, there were a prime ag soil set aside that we did have to adhere to. Did have plenty of open land on this parcel, so that was not difficult to achieve. The wastewater permit has been issued for the project. Difficult soils, they were wet, heavy. We do have advanced treatment systems that are proposed going to a single mound system here that serves a 3-bedroom home. And we do have for the 5-bedroom home a split mound system that goes over to the far easterly side of the property where the better soils were actually located. One thing that we discussed during...
Is that pumped up?
It is pumped, yes. It's actually treated and it's pumped, so it's a 3-tank system that it goes through before it finally gets out for final disposal.
And the disposal area is actually split between 2 different mounds?
It is, it's valve. Okay,
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, if you valve the mound systems, you can actually hydraulically split the flow and you distribute evenly throughout 2 mounds, and that gives you more basal area. So it's a good way to do it. You can do it with orifice spacing and orifice sizing as well. It's a little more challenging to get it just right. It's easier with the valves, and then once the valves are set, they can be locked, and it works out really well. So that is, and the state has reviewed and issued the permit. The permit was in a couple of months ago. We did do a hydraulic analysis on that, on each system that was done by a hydrogeologist. So we did prove to the state that the systems can handle the load, handle the mounding for each one of them. In terms of water, we've done some research with regards to wells around here. The 4 wells that we looked at immediately in the area, we're getting about an average of 50 gallons a minute. So in terms of water and wastewater, we do have things covered. The permit has been issued. The one item that was discussed during sketch plan were wetlands. We went up and met with the Act 250 district coordinator. She said no need to get the wetland staff out there. When we submitted the wetlands application, the wetlands people came out and wanted to take a site visit. So we ended up having the wetlands delineated, which we do have a wetlands permit in. You can see there's just a sliver coming through here, and then we cross it on the far side of the property. All of the only impacts are with the force mains, with the pipes, with the systems, minimal. They do fall under the general wetlands permit. Don't see an issue with the project or with that permit being issued. 3.71 acres, lot 1, and then 7.45 for, I think, 4.5 or 5.3 for lot 2. I can't quite remember.
9.5.
9.5, 7.95. So 11.6 acres overall. The goal was to sort of keep everything clustered out on the westerly side of the property to take advantage and leave the bulk of the property open. It can still be used when the pipes are buried. It can still be hayed like it's been hayed. It can still be pasture land like it's been pasture land. So it was, Mr. and Mrs. Place put a lot of thought into sort of condensing or clustering it towards one end of the property where it's not really spread out, which, should be commended for that on their part. And that's, in a nutshell, that's pretty much what the project, similar size and shape, everything was on sketch plan, with the exception of Act 250 and wetlands, which I do expect anytime. They have been in for 30 days or more, and Act 250 is actually just waiting on the wetlands permit because they can't issue their permit without the wetlands permit.
Why does this fall under Act 250?
It's already Act 250. The driving range was commercial,
Yeah.
on greater than 10 acres, so it was already an Act 250 permit.
So do you fall out of Act 250?
No, you have to amend the permit. So, best case scenario in a case like this, you go through what's called an administrative amendment, but that's not the case. We had to go through with a new Act 250 application because it was something totally different, going from commercial to residential. But once Act 250 has the deed, or they have control, they have.
Once the demon is in you.
Once it's there,
always
there's
in
no
you.
getting out of it, yeah.
It's actually being actively discussed by the commission on Act 250 that the legislature set up, and that's one of the items, is how to release properties from Act 250 jurisdiction once they change or Act 250 changes in such a way that the project like this one that's proposed would never have triggered Act 250 in the first place. But right now, that hasn't happened, so yes, because the driving range got an Act 250 permit, even though it's no longer a driving range, the Act 250 permit still has to be amended for this.
Yes.
So the building envelopes are just down in the,
They're in the corner. I might need to zoom in.
Yeah, I'll zoom in some more here.
I mean, you can see.
So if the owner of the house that you're proposing to build on the southeast side wanted to hit a golf ball out of his backyard, he would be able to do so.
He could, yeah. The tee boxes will be gone. So there won't be anything elevated, but they can go right off the back lawn and.
So there you go, Dick.
Don't you ever hit our house?
And if you want, we could probably still set some yardage markers with the GPS when we're out there.
yeah.
The building envelope is labeled, but it's a little hard to see, Jason. Is there a different plan that shows it more
survey.
clearly?
Yeah, the survey plat or S2, the site plan.
Which one would you like me to put up?
One more up with the survey plat, which
Okay.
would probably be better. You see the building
I see.
envelopes
Yep,
here. The site plans usually get a little bit busy with the grading,
yep.
with the ditching. We're underneath the 10,000 square feet, so stormwater is not required. From the town standpoint, it's still an acre threshold for the state permit. We're well under that. It does trigger the general construction permit we've applied for and received that. That's the stormwater erosion control and runoff, so we do have that permit in hand. That's all taken care of. Like I said, other than waiting on the Act 250 and waiting on the wetlands permit, which both parties have viewed the site, I don't see really any issues. Those should be along any day.
There's some issue with the 18-foot right-of-way being referenced in the easement documents.
Yeah, Mitch noticed that the easement, or
It's a-
association, I guess, documents call it out as an area for utilities, but also as a right-of-way, and he thought that made it sound like potentially it could be an access, but that's not anyone's intent.
No.
So I think he was suggesting that that language be revised in those legal documents to clarify that it's not
It's a
going to be.
utility right-of-way,
It's a
not-
utility right-of-way, and it'll be used, and it will not be used for access. He put that in as a draft condition of approval.
And V-Trans would never give you an access there anyways,
Right.
so
Is that where the electricity was for the shed, for the golf? for
that's
the-
where, it's
That came
not,
from my parents' house.
yeah, it's
Oh,
not,
that's-
there's not anything in there currently, but that's where, there's a, I know we don't have it on the map. There's
That's all right.
a pole,
There's a pole there,
there's a pole right there, that, basically, that's where it's
That's what
at.
it was set up for.
So the cedars are gonna stay in place anyways, they're not even, they're
Right.
gonna be completely screened.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be screened, if you actually take and go to S2, Alex, I can.
Well, those shrubs are now,
They're high.
Oh, yeah,
they're way high.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, some of them are coming out to the north, and actually it's been planned to
It's their
extend.
land, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, just, you can go.
Let me zoom in a little more.
Yeah, a little bit further if you wouldn't mind. So the existing hedgerow is here. That's gonna come out of cedars, and it's gonna be extended to the north. Just a little bit for protection with the folks out near 116. Removal of the hedgerow will allow just for the grading to work out, the tanks, the building envelope a little better, and then extending that hedgerow to the north will provide that additional screening. It's very blocked. I mean, it's like I said, I mean, they're all of 30 feet, 25 feet tall.
So for the people that spoke up, you don't have to repeat what you said, but if you can just give your name.
Vicky Matthews,
Yeah.
Greg Matthews,
Okay, thank
your
you.
neighbors.
Neighbors.
Approving neighbor, it sounds like.
You know, it's their land. Their dad gave us the land, or sold us the land.
We wouldn't be
40
here if it wasn't for the places.
45, yeah, 45 years ago, you know? So,
You didn't give it, but we got it.
no, I know.
That's us right there.
I know,
Turn
I
it
know.
off, Kevin.
Right here?
Kinda neat.
No, up.
The other
Oh,
way.
one more?
Yeah.
Yep.
It looks like a good plan.
You think so?
Yep.
I've never seen the family do a shack, so.
Well, I, as a board member, have no further questions.
Okay.
Same.
Good. So I guess we have a draft decision. Do we?
Have
would
we
prefer
exhausted
to-
comment from the public?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Probably.
Sorry.
Good point. So we will open it to the public since it was unofficially open. No worries. So if anybody else has anything else,
No, we're all good.
okay. So I guess I would motion we close the public hearing. The question is whether or not we want to talk about the decision further in deliberative session, or?
I think it's well-written and covers the basis, and I would move to approve as written.
I would second that.
All right.
My
Any-
only suggestion would be that condition of approval about the easement language and that 18-foot strip
Yeah.
It's
says,
in the order,
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So order number 2.
oh, two.
And that's what was drafted up by the attorney.
Yeah, they just.
And order number 1 and 2. So actually, I take it back. The way Mitch has it drafted,
Yeah,
it's
it says
very
just the
clear
right-of-way part of
what
it.
has to be
Yeah,
done, yeah,
no,
so.
You don't have to, you still have to refer
Yeah.
to it, right.
So, yeah, it looks good.
Okay, so that goes under the any other discussion.
That's right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So I think that's,
I think we
That's
dealt
it
with
for the
other business
applications today.
before a lot of people arrived.
okay, so yeah, you guys
So I would move we
go into
adjourn to
deliberative
deliberative session to
to
discuss the
discuss
two
modification.
applications under,
right. So I would second that.
Good job, guys.
So,
Let me tell Ken to
And maybe we
turn off the
can
cameras and then we.
take up the previous application first, because Andy can
Yeah,
then
Andy and
take
Rolf
up.
can participate in the Nelis one.
Yeah.
And then, well, Andy can stick around for Hannaford even though he's not participating, but Rolf needs to leave.
so we have a vote to go into deliberative session?
Aye.
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 All right, very good. Thank you.
We're in.